Sarah here. Welcome back to another episode of You're Fucking Welcome. I am fresh back from another trip to Miraval. I'm laughing because I feel like I've said that multiple times. I've been there 3 times now since June. I went last week for a client retreat. So while it was wonderful and beautiful, it was also work, right? So I didn't get to relax necessarily. And then I went this past week with a friend. For a personal kind of relaxation vacation time. And really, like, they're not paying me, although I think maybe they probably should, but like the amount of healing and growth that I do in just 2 days there, like it really like exceeds anything else that I've ever done in that period of time, right? Like it's such a clarifying and such a, again, healing 48 hours. It's not a lot of time at all, but I feel like the combination of, putting the phone away and just allowing yourself to like be in nature. I literally just stay in the pool most of the time. And it's just such a healing, I don't know, experience for me. And I feel like every single time I come back, like, just awake, a little bit more awake and a little bit more healed and a little bit more energized. And I feel so fucking good right now. And I'm going to do an episode for you next, right? So like, I guess on Thursday, just talking about that a little bit more so, because I want to kind of break down some of the biggest shifts that I've had. But I just wanted to say that because I feel, again, so good. And I feel softer. I feel lighter. I feel calmer than I think I ever have. And I just say that to you, not to sit here and brag about how I feel, of course, but just as a reminder to do what you have to do to give that to yourself, right? If you haven't gone away, if you haven't taken time for yourself, if you haven't had fun in a while, please just do that in whatever form you can, because I know how easy it is to just get stuck in the day-to-day hamster wheel, the hustle, and not pick your head up every once in a while. And it's so freaking important. And it absolutely will always make you more money than burnout will. And so again, just want to remind you of that. But one of the things that not necessarily came up there, but like it kind of re-emerged there, and I shared with my mastermind clients, and it felt worth sharing with you because it felt like a really powerful lesson that I learned years ago, but that re-emerged over the past couple days and was a really good reminder of not only how I deal with myself, but also how I deal with other people in all aspects of life. And so if we flash back a couple years, and you might have heard me share the story before, because I have shared it a few times, but in January of 2017, I did my first in-person event for my first mastermind, my first like big mastermind. And in a nutshell, it included a lot of stuff, right? We had a photo shoot. Girls got a website and branding done for them over the course of a couple days. Like there was a lot going on. And I think I was crazy now, like looking back on it, but it was a really cool experience for people. And something happened where one of the women in the group, she really did not like her photos, right? She got her pictures taken and she really was not happy with how she looked in her pictures and was angry about it. She yelled at me. She yelled at the photographer. She kind of made a little bit of a scene, if you will. And I felt really disrespected by how it went down. And the next morning, we were all supposed to meet and mastermind, and go on with the day. And I'm kind of sitting there being like, okay, I understand. Like, it sucks to feel like you didn't like your pictures. And, I have compassion for that, balanced out with like, you can't talk to me like that. And we've got to figure out a solution here, especially because I kind of felt like, I'm like, okay, if you don't like your pictures, we'll figure something out, right? Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, too bad, sorry, like taking your money and run. Like, we'll figure something out. And there wasn't that moment to kind of have that conversation because of the emotions. And so again, I was just really feeling like scared, nervous, angry, all of the emotions in terms of how do I deal with this as the leader of the group, as the person running this event, as the person who was paid. I'm not sure how to deal with this, again, especially knowing that I feel like it's important that I am respected by the people in my world. And in that particular instance, how it went down, I didn't feel respected. And so I was talking to my mentor at the time, and I was like explaining everything, obviously. And I feel like the piece of advice she gave me was so simple, but so profound. And she said, you have to remember to speak to both the little girl inside of her and also the woman, right? Because we have to remember that when somebody lashes out, is, acting in a way where it feels emotional, right? That's, again, so often their little inner child feelings coming out. They're scared, they're embarrassed, they're ashamed, they're frustrated, they're mad at themselves, they're mad at other people. There are all these different feelings going on, right? And so you want to remember that as much as possible, because even though it can feel like they're projecting onto you, they're disrespecting you, at the core of what's really going on here is that you have somebody who, again, is scared, embarrassed, sad inside. And you have to know that, and again, address that piece of it, balanced out with putting your foot down to an extent where, like, but you are an adult and you don't get to speak to me like this. You don't get to handle it like this, right? And again, speaking to both parts. And I wanted to bring that up to you today because, like I said, it definitely has like reemerged for me over the past couple weeks in a couple different aspects. Like I had a client at my event 2 weeks ago, and she was sharing with me just like a frustration that she had with a family member. And, she was just sharing it from this place of like how like angry she gets at this person. And I understood why she, again, gets angry. But like remembering that like, okay, but to get the outcome that you probably want, we have to see both sides. We have to look at the little inner girl that's projecting those feelings onto you, and then also the adult. And again, with my own personal situations, it's something that I'm trying my best to go back to. But more than anything lately, it's also with myself, right? Because I am somebody who, when we think about like my inner talk track or like the thoughts that are going in my head all the time, my natural, or I shouldn't say natural, but my way of being for many years has been to only speak to the woman. Like, why can't you get this together? You should just work harder. You should just do this. Like, it's all kind of coming from this discipline, like strict, get it together kind of place. And then I think I've definitely had my moments where I kind of focus so much on the inner child version of me, right? That I almost give myself too much compassion, or I wind up, I think, feeling like I'm talking to myself almost like a victim-y version of myself, and not balancing it out with like, okay, here's how you feel, but also let's balance it out with like, what are the steps that you need to take as a grown-up, right? And so again, I wanted to bring that up because I know that obviously so many people that listen to this, you have clients, for example, that might, be upset about something or angry about something, and maybe they're saying something about that anger or frustration. And it's so easy to kind of go into defense mode and feel like it's something about you, instead of remembering how important it is to know and trust the fact that like they're going through something, they're scared, they're frustrated, they're upset. And we can see that, we can validate those feelings, and we can remember those feelings instead of assuming like we're wrong, but then also putting them on the course to find the solutions and to create, to take the steps that need to be taken in order to get the desired outcome. And again, when I was thinking more and more about this, I really feel like it's something that you can carry into every aspect of your life, not just with frustrating situations, but let's say you're dating, right? Like that person in front of you has this inner child, right? That might be nervous, might be, again, all those emotions that are coming up. And you get to see that. You get to see that in that person, but also know how you want to be treated and what you want for a man, for a woman in your life, like those standards that you have, and what you want to see in them. But you get to see both versions. And I think that not only is that balance, right, seeing both sides, a really freeing and a really like a really calming thing for me, right? In terms of like how I'm handling my own, like I said, self-talk, or how I'm handling my own relationships. But I also think it just gets to be this thing where it breeds so much more empathy for each other as human beings, and compassion and understanding. And rather than getting angry automatically or getting defensive automatically, seeing within somebody first, right? And then going to what the right thing is to do. I think it, again, creates so much more peace within yourself, within your relationships. And it also is so much more likely to get you to the desired outcome, right? And so I literally feel like it's oversimplified, but I really feel like if each and every one of us had that skill and had that understanding, it would change the world. Like it really would. And so I wanted to at least start, right, by changing you a little bit here and reminding you of how important it is to see that in not only yourself, but in everybody you come into contact with, especially those conversations or those situations, those dynamics that might be a little bit more frustrating and that might be a little bit more triggering, because for your own good and for the other person's good, remembering that within all of us lives that scared, upset, nervous, frustrated, childlike sense, right? Childlike version of us. And that doesn't go away, right? For most of us. And then also remembering that, but they still have an occasion to rise to. They still have a responsibility, if you will, to be a grown up. And like I said, I'll say it again, if you can just train yourself to see both sides, I think it's going to give you a lot of peace in your life. I think it's going to give a lot of peace to the people in your life. And I also think it's going to be that much more likely to help you get to the outcome that you ultimately want. Okay? I will talk to you in the next episode. I hope this is helpful. Bye.